We live in a world where we are constantly comparing ourselves to others. From our social media feeds to the people we see on TV, we are constantly bombarded by people who have, or at least appear to have, lots and lots of money. It's easy to feel bad about ourselves when it looks like everyone around us has it all figured out. So today, I'm going to hype you back up and remind you why you're actually better with money than you think. 1. You have the desire to improve. You clicked on this video at all. The fact that you're here and that you're watching this tells me that you made the choice to improve your financial situation. We don't get to choose what financial circumstances we're born into, and in many ways in life, we have to play the cards we're dealt. Most wealthy Americans were born into wealth, and most poor Americans were born into poverty. But 27% of wealthy Americans are self-made, and the fact that you're here tells me that you're on track to be one of them. There's no denying that being born into money makes life substantially easier right from the jump. But no matter where we start, there are actionable steps that all of us can take to improve our financial footing. And you're trying to do that, so I applaud you and thank you for being here. As far as I'm concerned, you're already pretty cool. Number 2, you look your money in the face even if you're freaked out while you're doing it. One of the biggest barriers to getting good with money is being too afraid to look at all of your accounts across the board and figure out what you own, what you owe, what money is coming in, and where your money is going. Trust me, I get this feeling. I made it all the way through college without ever checking my student loan balance because I didn't want to see that number. I knew it was going to be bad. The problem is when you're doing mental math about your financial situation, you can't make actionable changes to improve because most likely the numbers in your head are very different from the numbers on paper. My student loan balance was much, much higher than I thought it was because my brain had not accounted for compound interest. So initially I was really shocked and very upset. But what I was not expecting is that after the dust settled and I could actually come to terms with what I was working with and make a plan, believe it or not, that actually made me feel better than when I was constantly worried about this mystical number that I just didn't have the guts to look at. When you have the courage to actually turn the lights on and take stock of what you have going on financially, you can actually make a plan to do something about it. There is serious power in knowing where you're at because it's the only way to get you where you're going. Number 3, you've life hacked your food spending. You never go to the grocery store if you're actively hungry, and you always bring a list with you. On that list are the meals you're going to make for the week, accounting for leftovers, and then you eat your dinner leftovers for lunch the next day. You've planned out a rough idea about how much each of these meals are going to cost based on the cost of the ingredients, and you check your bank account balance before you head to the store to make sure you've got it ahead of time. When it comes to restaurants, you always pack your leftovers, and if you're super savvy, you set aside half of your meal right away in a to-go box so that you have something to look forward to the next day. And you stick to your restaurant budget, knowing when to split the bill evenly and when to tell your friend who always orders the steak and lobster when everybody else is having soup that you're just going to pay for what you ordered. Which brings me to the next one. Number 4, you talk to your friends about money. You feel comfortable and confident telling them when you can't afford something. And on the flip side, you make them feel comfortable to tell you when they can't afford something. In fact, 62% of people don't talk about money at all, but having these conversations with our friends is hugely important because I can almost guarantee that one of your friends knows something that another one doesn't. To give you an example, I went out to lunch with some of my friends one time, one of which was a labor and delivery nurse, and my other friend was having her first baby. She was talking about breastfeeding and how expensive breast pumps are, and that she didn't understand that she was going to have to shell out $300+ to feed her kid, when my nursing friend explained to everyone at the table as we were scarfing down fried pickles that breast pumps are literally required to be covered by insurance. My friend was able to get one for free because of that conversation, and that probably would not have happened if we all didn't have the kind of relationship where we could talk to each other about money. Speaking of free stuff, number 5, you get the full 401k match at your job. If you have a 401k match at your place of employment, that means your job is giving you free money. If they say they will match up to 4% of your salary, whatever dollar amount that 4% is, if you put that amount into a retirement account, your employer will also put that amount of money into your investment account at no additional cost to you. What this looks like in practice is that when you log into your 401k portal and it asks you what percent of your paycheck you want to contribute, if your job is matching 4%, you want to contribute at least 4% to maximize that match. There are very few ways to get free money in life, so if you're already taking advantage of this, you already know what's up. Number 6, you know what a credit score is and why it's important. Even if you think credit scores are totally stupid, there's no denying that having a great one does make life substantially easier. And if you know that having a great credit score makes buying a house substantially cheaper, a car substantially cheaper, basically anything expensive where you need a loan substantially cheaper in the long run, you have figured out something that many people never will. Even if your credit score isn't great right now, knowing what it is and knowing how to make it better means that you can fix it. Number 7, you plan your money and most of it is automated. Setting reminders on your phone for when your bills are due is level 1. Having a calendar of dates that tells you when your payments are going to process is level 2. And level 3 is when your bills and credit cards are on auto pay, so you don't even have to think about it. Because you do this, not only are you much less likely to deal with overdraft and late fees, you also don't have to worry about it because your technology is going to do it for you. Besides, if you have reached a point financially where you feel comfortable using auto pay, it probably means you feel confident that you have enough money in your bank at any given moment to cover all your bills, and that's a huge accomplishment. Number 8, you save any portion of your income. Nearly 1 in 4 Americans have no savings whatsoever, and most cannot afford a $1,000 emergency expense. If you are saving anything, even just a few dollars a month, you should feel really good about yourself. Human beings are wired to think about the here and now. It is substantially harder to think about what future us will need to survive, and harder still to have the means to do so. Now, if you really want some bonus points, when you do set aside those extra dollars, you set them aside in a high-yield savings account so that you get the most amount of interest for your money. Number 9, you have long-term financial goals. Even if you're not exactly where you'd like to be financially right now, you've laid out a plan for you to get there. And you haven't just kept these thoughts cooped up in your brain. You've written down your financial plan for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and you're actively taking steps toward them, or you're actively not taking steps away from them. You're not making choices that make it harder for you to get there. Number 10, you know what makes you tick financially, and you know how to avoid it. Everybody is a sucker for something, myself included. For me, it's a sale price, especially with clothing. Even though I know that many things are marked up just to be marked down to make it look like they're on sale, something about 40% off is just really hard to override in my brain, and it makes me feel like I'm missing out on an opportunity to buy something that I don't even necessarily want. My financial coping mechanisms are as follows. First of all, if I get an email that says 1 day only flash sale, I don't even bother opening it because I know I'm going to feel pressured to act super quickly. And I also know from experience that 24 hours later, I'm going to get another email that says 1 day flash sale extended through the weekend, and the day after that, and for the rest of the week. But aside from flat out avoidance, one thing that has helped me curb unnecessary spending is the 72-hour rule. Basically, if there's a non-essential item that I want, I'm allowed to copy and paste that link into a things I want to buy list somewhere, but I have to wait at least 72 hours before I buy it. During that 72 hours, I ask myself, will I actually use this thing? How often will I realistically use it? And is this something I'm going to use for weeks or months? Or is it something I might get use out of for years and years to come? For example, if I want to buy another cute workout set in a colorway that is very similar to one that I already own, I need to ask myself, how often am I going to reach for this one as opposed to one that I already have? Is this multi-purpose? Can I wear this outside of the gym, or is it something I'll only use to exercise? Is it a trendy item that I want to buy right now, but probably won't be something I'll want to wear 6 months from now? Just asking myself these questions and giving myself some time to think about it means I buy superfluous stuff significantly less often, and I really only spend the money on things I truly value. As always, thank you so much for being here. I hope you know you're better with money than you think you are, and I'll see you in the next one.